PRF Manager Charts is your electronic patient reporting form system. It is accessed from the main menu by clicking the PRF Manager Charts icon. On the dashboard of the PRF Manager Charts page, you'll see a variety of options. On the left-hand side, you have an option to create a new PRF, and if you have administrator rights, you can view a quick overview which gives you some charts and statistics on PRFs entered from the last 30 days, the latest 50 PRFs entered onto the system, and the ability to list all PRFs entered. On the center part of the dashboard page is a button to create a new PRF, and then 3 submenu options which shows your current open and incomplete PRF records as the logged in user, and then buttons to view your last 25 records entered and all open and incomplete PRF records from your organization. This option is only available to administrators or users who have been granted the necessary permissions to view this information. To create a new PRF Manager Charts record, click the New PRF button or select New PRF from the left-hand menu. You'll be taken to the Create PRF Instant page. It will pre-populate with the current date and time and have a text box available to enter your call or dispatch ID. If you have ResGrid integration enabled on your account and you use ResGrid for your CAD and incident mapping, you can then use this to import addresses and call details from the ResGrid CAD system. This is done by simply clicking on the call number field. If you do not have the ResGrid integration enabled, you can enter your own manual dispatch ID or you can leave it blank. Then click the Create PRF button. This will then take you onto the dispatch information screen, where you can enter the current location of the call or patient details and select a relevant location type. The location field allows you to enter specific details. For example, if you're at the location of an event, you can enter the event details in the left-hand side, and then to a specific location, such as a field or a marker point. If you have purchased our postcode address lookup subscription, you can find location details using the Royal Mail postcode address lookup function. This is done by entering the postcode first and then clicking the lookup address button. This will then provide a list of addresses within the Royal Mail database which you can select. Once selected, it will then pre-populate location details for you. Moving down, we have times where we can record relevant call times appropriate to the call, including the call time, received, mobile, on scene, at patient, left scene, arrived destination, and clear. Crew members treated by is where you can record the crew members who have been involved in the treatment of the patient along with the role. By default, it will enter the name of the user who has created the PRF. You can click the edit button to update the role. And if you'd like to add a second crew member or person involved in the treatment of the patient, you can use the Add Crew Member button and add in a second person. You are able to add in units that have responded on the call, which are from the Fleet module. And you're also able to record some additional information such as response mode, for example, lights and sirens, and also any other services that are at the scene. This could be fire, first responder, police, rescue, utilities. Moving down to page 2, patient. This is where you can record details of the patient. You have the ability to search for an existing patient within your database, from surname, first name, of date of birth. If you find one that matches, you're able to then select it. If there is one that does not match, you're then able to select the Create New Patient button and create a new patient record. This then populates the patient details into the system. Moving on to page 3, which is the chief complaint and also the history of the primary injury. You have some fields available to you to record the presenting complaint. There's a drop down of chief complaint codes, which are default in the system, and you are able to change these yourself within the organization admin area. Scene description, history of present illness, and any other information that you may want to record. Page 4 allows you to record neurological observations and airway observations. You have the option to load default values by clicking the Load Defaults button at the bottom of the screen. And then should any of these need changing, you're then able to go through and select as appropriate and click Save. The defaults that are loaded for your organization can be customized within the organization admin area. And then moving on to the second page, you have airway, respiratory at the top. Where you're able to record additional information. The neurological button at the top of that page will then take you back to the neurological page we were just on. Page 5 is around respiratory and cardiovascular. Again, we have a load defaults button at the bottom, which you can customize, and they can go and change as appropriate. Page 6 is your secondary survey. Here you can record your observations and your injuries, the various parts of the body. Again, we have a load defaults button at the bottom of the page, which loads in some of your default options. Should you need to change any of these, you're then able to delete and add in anything that is different to your default value. You then have a button for the anatomical exam. This is where you're able to select on the patient body the location of an injury or point of note, and the ability to make comments. The secondary survey button takes you back to your main secondary survey page, and then you also have a button for burns where you're able to record various options. Page 7, meds and IV, is where you're able to record medication administered to patients. These are all pre-populated. Within the system. Page 8, activity, allows you to record various information and activities undertaken, including observations. So you're able to record heart rates, blood pressure, SATs, end-tidal CO2, respirations, temperature, blood glucose level, the current GCS level, if they have any pain, ECG rhythm, any general comments, and who undertook the observations. The narrative allows you to enter free text information, which can then appear on the PRF Manager Charts page. You can also record advice given by clicking the Add Advice and selecting an advice template. These are all customizable within your organization admin area. Once loaded, you can amend as appropriate and then click Add Advice to enter the information into the patient chart record. Any procedures that have been undertaken can also be recorded as appropriate. And if there are any special reports, where you can enter your subject and comment. Special reports are typically used when specific information or actions need to be raised to your management team for further review, such as any incidents that may have occurred as a result of this patient treatment at the time. The documentation page allows you to upload documents into the PRF Manager Charts module, and this is possible to be done after it has been signed off post-patient treatment by administrators with necessary permissions. We are working on an enhancement which will allow you to take a photograph from a mobile device, which will then automatically attach it into here. And then finally, we have the Closeoff tab. The Closeoff tab is where we finish off the patient treatment by recording the time left care, any key statistics, which allows you to report, receiving hospital and the receiving clinician name, the outcome of the patient treatment, obtain a patient signature. There's also options for refusal of care, refusal of ambulance, and if the patient is unable or refused to sign. So obviously if it's on a tablet device, using a finger and a screen, they'll be able to sign. The information here which they're signing to can be customized by yourselves within the organization admin area. And the crew signatures, so your crew can electronically sign the charts once all treatment has been finished. And then finally, you have quality assurance. This ensures that all information that is necessary to the closure of the PRF Manager chart record is captured. Tests have been undertaken already, and we can see here that the time left care field, the time left care test, has failed, and the error is telling us that the time left care field is required. So if we go up here and enter in the time left care field and click save, we will now see that we have passed all of the end of record verification tests, and we can then click to complete and lock the chart. Once we've locked the chart, it is now no longer editable and is kept in its state it was submitted in. Once the chart has been locked, should additional information need to be recorded, this can be done under the activity page, and you'll notice there is a new option called Chart Addendum, which is where any post information can be recorded after the chart has been closed. This then provides audit functionality on the information that had already been entered. Once the chart has been completed, you also have a variety of options down the left-hand side under your chart options menu. The first one is print handover. This is designed for if you have mobile printers with you, you can print off a brief copy of your records to give to a hospital A&E department. You have share handover, which allows you to create share codes which will allow third parties such as A&E reception staff to gain a one-time only access to the PRF record for the purpose of a patient care handover. Once you click the new share code button, it will then give you details, including the access URL to use, the access code, and a PIN number. They'll then be able to see the information that you've entered on your chart record and print a copy for the record should they need to do it. And once it has been used, it will then mark as used and will not be able to use again to maintain patient confidentiality. And then the third option is the patient record access option. This here is a URL and a reference and PIN number that you can give to your patient so they can access their record themselves from any mobile or desktop device after treatment has been completed. So that's it for the brief overview of the PRF Manager Charts module.